Hey guys, Chris here. Today I have a story about a group of 5 people who go to the mountains of Colorado on a ski trip, and over the course of this trip they have a series of events that make them feel the need to call the police and to cut their trip short and just entirely leave. That's next. All right, we are in the Sierra Nevada mountains tonight, heading back to the Pine Grove. Missed the Pine Grove, haven't been here for a few weeks. And yeah, I love the little stream there, and the whole setup is pretty cool, so. All right, and the light is holding out pretty good. We got a little more daylight to work with. And so I might be walking out of here with some daylight left, which would be kind of nice. All right, here we are, back at it, you guys. There's the tree, there's the stump right there. So, yeah, there's the pile. I'll get a good view of the pile here for you guys. Look at that. It does get dark in here really fast because of the steep ridge this way. You can see it goes up there. It's just out of the light. It was sunny just minutes ago. I can still see the sun over there. So yeah, pretty interesting. Okay, for tonight's beer, we have a Voodoo Ranger Experimental IPA. So that's by New Belgium Brewing Company. So I can drop that in the creek. All right, it's good to be back in the Pine Grove tonight. We got a little more sunlight to work with. The sun's going to go down about 7:54. It's about a little after 7, so we'll see how that goes. Also, I got a new lantern. Check this out. Look at that. Isn't that cool? It's battery operated, but it's got like a fake flame going on. I just love that. Also, I have my tin cup here from Stillwater, Minnesota. That's from my good friend Tim. How's it going, Tim? And I now have my Voodoo Ranger IPA, and this Trekology chair has a pocket on the side here, so that is meant for my beer, so that's almost like perfect. So we're going to put these two together. There we go. Nice frosty top on that. All right, cheers. So this next story takes place in Colorado at the ski resort of Copper Mountain. And Copper Mountain is in the White River National Forest, which is 2.3 million acres. Just a huge national forest. And just north of Copper Mountain is a wilderness area called the Eagle Nest Wilderness. It looks really cool. I would love to check that out sometime. There was 5 people, friends, that wanted to go skiing at Copper Mountain about 10 years ago. It was Brenda, Lisa, Kathy, and Mark and Dave. And they were going to stay at Brenda's mom and dad's mountain home at Copper Mountain. It was in a cul-de-sac. A couple other houses were being built, so they were like the only one in this cul-de-sac. And behind the house was the White River National Forest for miles of, national forest and wilderness. So on the second day, they got back from skiing and they noticed in the garage there was no firewood. And then they looked out on the back deck and they didn't see any firewood, and Brenda remembered, that was her mom and dad's place, that nobody had delivered firewood that year and they were just going off the heaters, baseboard heaters or whatever they had. And so the girls asked the two guys, Mark and Dave, can you guys go out and get some firewood? So they went out to get some firewood, break some tree branches off, get what they could, get a collection going. And about 10 minutes later, the girls could hear them running across the deck into the back door. Door bursts open, and immediately they started just talking over each other. Very shaken up about something they'd seen outside, and they were talking at the same time. It was very confusing for the girls. And then the word Sasquatch came up, and Kathy had never heard that word, and she said, what's Sasquatch? And then Lisa said, it's just another word for Bigfoot. And then right away Kathy goes, oh, well, they're up to something. They're faking us out or something. I don't know what's going on, but she right away didn't believe what they were talking about. And then she thought about it for a minute, and she knew Mark and Dave, and they just weren't the kind of guys to play games and be all dramatic and then drag it on for a few minutes, you know. And so she thought, okay, maybe they saw a bear or a moose or something in the woods, and it just scared them. It startled them, and they ran in, and they thought they saw something else. And Lisa was adamant about, you guys need to go back out there and get some firewood, because you guys came back with nothing. Mark had a couple small, measly branches, and Dave had nothing. And they were like, no way, no way. Hell no, we're not going back out there. As long as it's night, we will not go back out there. And the girls like, okay. And they had another glass of wine. And they said, you know what, we're going to go out and get some firewood. So they bundled up, got their winter gear on, powdery snow. The moon was out. Really a nice night. And they instantly felt kind of comfortable out there because they could see clearly in the back of the property and even into the woods. They could see really clear because of the moon reflecting off the snow. And the snow was pretty easy to walk in. It was powdery over their knees, but they were walking, and then they got under this tree and they broke off a few branches and they're just chatting. And then Brenda says, guys, hey guys. And Lisa and Kathy both look over, and she's about 8 feet away, and she says, somebody is throwing small rocks at me. They're hitting me on the back. Or maybe it's acorns or something. And they looked, Kathy and Lisa looked around, they couldn't see anything. They didn't know what, they were kind of confused. What is she talking about? And they just thought maybe some acorns fell off a tree. Didn't really know what to think of it. I was like, okay, I guess you're going to be okay. So they continued walking. They were really enjoying just being together and just talking. And then they were turning around. They're heading back to the back of this mountain home. And then Brenda stops and she screams. The top of her lungs, just loud shriek. And both Lisa and Kathy are like, what is going on? Are you okay? What's going on? And she was looking at the back of the house, 200 feet away, and she said she saw a figure in all black run across the back of the deck and then jump off and kind of disappear. And it was really tall. And so Lisa and Kathy are both looking at the back of the house, the side of the house, and they didn't see anything again. They didn't see anything. Couple minutes went by and they're looking, and Brenda was just shaken up. She didn't even want to move. She was just staring at the house. And so both Lisa and Kathy kind of picked up on it. Hey, Brenda, it's okay. We should head in now, okay? All right? You're going to be okay. Let's get in. And so she finally coaxed her along to go back into the house. And as soon as they walked in, Mark says to the three girls, he says, please tell me this was you guys. And he just points his arm out like this, towards the window next to the slider behind the sectional couch. There was a window there, and there was a rock lodged in the window. It didn't come through, and it didn't fall out the other side. It was just lodged there. Not a giant rock, but maybe like this big. And then it had spider cracked all around it. And they're like, and then right away Brenda freaks out because it's her mom and dad's mountain home, and she's like, oh my God, what, this is getting out of control here. And she's thinking about having to replace the window. And then Kathy and Lisa are both concerned about who is this person harassing us and basically assaulting us. Just feeling kind of serious, and they were really stressed out about this whole thing. And so at this point, Brenda decides to call the non-emergency phone number for the police and get the police to come out and just kind of check on things and inform them that there might be an intruder or somebody out there messing with them. So they decided to play some board games and drink another glass of wine and kind of just try to shut their minds off to everything that's going on. Nothing seemed to happen. The police showed up about 25 minutes later. Knock on the door, and they say, it's the police. Yeah, we walked around the perimeter of the property, had our flashlights. We didn't see anything. Didn't see any vehicles in the cul-de-sac that were just, random vehicles parked or anything, or even down the street. Please let us know if you hear or see anything else, and any concerns you have, and we will, keep an eye in the place as we patrol, and all like that. And so they were like, okay, felt kind of relieved. They got the police involved at least, and so they all decided, let's get some rest, let's put this day behind us, go skiing tomorrow, and just kind of start fresh, right? So they all go to their rooms. Kathy went to the guest room downstairs, and she gets in the bed, and the back of the headboard faces the outer wall of that side of the house. So Kathy's laying there in this bed, headboard against the back wall, and about 20 minutes later, before she falls asleep, she hears on the back of the house rocks being thrown. Not giant rocks, but just enough to get her attention. About every 15-20 seconds, 3 or 4 rocks clank, 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 bang, bang, bang on the back of the house. And she's laying there feeling like really, really afraid, really stressed out, like, oh my gosh, what is going on here? This is just weird. There's somebody out there messing with us. And then she hears down the hall and around the corner, just where Lisa and Mark are, they were dating, and they were whispering, and Mark said, did you hear that? And Lisa's, yeah, what do you think that is? Mark's like, I don't know. And then Lisa said, do you think we should call the police? And then at that point, Kathy's just feeling afraid, but she's also feeling kind of annoyed that, I'm kind of getting pissed off here that, I'm in this house. We just had the police here an hour ago. I got all my friends here. I feel confident enough to at least go look out the window, right? So she gets up the nerve, rolls on the blanket, gets up, and she walks to the window that's just to the left of the bed, lifts up the corner of the blind, just lifts it up, and instantly she's shocked because she sees 2 large beings standing there about 6-7 feet away, just standing there. Very large beings, 7, almost 8 feet tall, and they're facing the back of the house and the window. And as soon as she lifts it up, the movement of the blind caught the attention of the one on the left, this being, hairy man, and it looked right at her, and they made direct eye contact. Kathy made direct eye contact with the one on the left. And soon as she did that, the one on the right noticed the movement. It turned its head, and then it howled. This extremely loud, high-pitched shriek howl. And in that moment, Kathy was trying to memorize a few things, and she noticed that they didn't seem like they were human or ape. There were something in between. It was just really kind of weird. She remembered that. And as soon as she lifted up and she made the eye contact, and the thing on the right screamed, and it screamed for several seconds, immediately in the rest of the house, she could hear people talking out loud, and then lights being turned on, and people coming down the stairs and moving around. And then Mark came in from the next bedroom, came in and opened the door, and he flipped on the light. And soon as he flipped on the light, the glare from the light hit the window and reflected back, and Kathy could no longer see outside. So she drops the blinds. She's just horrified about what she saw. Just unbelievable, this surreal thing that she just saw out the window. And immediately people are going to the windows, looking out the windows to try to figure out what they had just heard. They all heard this thing scream. Kathy saw it, they all heard it. And they're looking, and Kathy can hear them talking, and they're not seeing anything. And then Kathy realized her window was the only window facing the side yard of the house, and so no one else was able to see it except her. And as soon as the lights came on and people were moving around, the howling stopped. And then they were like, everyone is just shaken about what is going on. This is so freaky. Absolutely freaky what's happening here. And then they decided, you know what? I don't know if we're going to get any sleep tonight. I just don't think it's going to happen. And so they decided, you know what? We're just going to kind of collect our stuff, pack it up, and at first light, we're just going to leave. We're going to load our stuff up. As soon as the sun comes up, we're just going to load our stuff. And that's what they did. The sun came up, and they all walked their stuff out, loaded it in the car. They took off, left. They never returned. And then Kathy, she remembered two things she remembered about this encounter that they had. Just a lot of things that happened. Various people, of the 5 people. But this is what she remembered, was that she looked out the window and she saw these very masculine beings. And she could see them fairly clearly because it was a moonlit night still. Winter, so there's some reflection. And it's obviously night, so she can't see perfectly, but she could see the face. And she noticed that, like I said, she didn't think it was human or ape. It was something else. She couldn't quite think of it. And then she thought of an Ewok, or the Ewoks from Star Wars. Kind of this hybrid ape-human troll or something. And that's just burned in her memory years later. That's what she remembered, was their faces just like an Ewok. And then she also remembered how big and large and masculine they were, and yet the one on the right that was screaming and howling, it sounded so feminine in the scream. Sounded like a woman screaming this blood-curdling shriek at the top of her lungs. And the two things she just totally burned into her memory while she was on this trip to Copper Mountain in Colorado. So that's my story for tonight, guys. We got some light still. before it's totally dark. Probably 25 minutes, maybe 20 minutes. I got about a 20-minute hike. But just wanted to say I'm having a lot of fun with this. I'm really enjoying this. I'm very comfortable out in the woods. I know I get a lot of people that say be super careful and all like that. I have a GPS. I have a Spot X. Has an SOS on it. I also have a brand new high-powered hand torch here, and that is that's pretty cool. I also have my safety whistle. I bring that wherever I go. I'm just kind of showing you guys that I'm not out here totally without options. This is that super loud windstorm. I'm gonna blast it. Cover your ears. Let's try this. Let's try. I'm gonna cover your ears. Woo! You can hear that a half a mile away, apparently. And I got my new lantern, so I love that. I also usually tell somebody where I'm going, and I also have backup battery, external battery charging, charging banks. I guess that's what we call them, charging banks. There we go. I got one of those. You really want to keep your electronics charged up. Yeah, I got this at Walmart for 10 bucks. Isn't that great? And it'll tell you how much. There you go. 100% tells you how much is in there. That's really cool. And I also have, not in this trip tonight, but I have a 357 Magnum Ruger GP100. Just gonna throw that out there. There's a lot of people asking about guns and why don't you have a gun and stuff. So I, on my overnighters, I will be bringing that in case there's anything going on. Got to be really careful with guns, being at night, being afraid, and having a handgun. It can be a bad combination if you're not disciplined with it. You just got to know what your target is and be very clear. So just saying, not telling you guys what to do, but that's how I look at things. So, all right. So, anyways, lot of things going on. I got a lot of more stories coming up, and some locations I'm going to be going to. So it'll be fun. So thank you for watching. I really appreciate you guys. And if you like hiking and backpacking and stories about the strange, unexplained, and things that go bump in the night, please like, comment, and subscribe. I'd really appreciate that. And I look at all my comments and I answer as many as I can. So, all right, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. And as always, keep hiking.